back in Miami for day 2. Let's get some pizza. If day 1 in Miami was centered around long trips back and forth over the MacArthur Causeway, day 2 settled into an easier and slightly more predictable time staying west of Biscayne Bay. But first, it started with the hunt for breakfast.
When I was here yesterday, I was like, man, this place really reminds me of somewhere I've been recently. And I started looking through some old photos and I was like, oh damn, it's Culver City in LA. Because they've got, I'll just put these side by side. But I think the difference is that the space that's here.
So we headed back to Coconut Grove to get the shuttle Douglas Road so that we could take the Metro Rail to South Miami. There was a little bit of obvious site prep going on, maybe some geotech at Douglas Road for another big infill project. Looking across the street at the Walgreens and Advanced Auto Parts, it's crazy that infill here took this long, seeing as how the station opened in 1984. But, and I talked about this at length in the exclusionary zoning series I did over on Urban Legends, land values need to get really high before infill projects become economically feasible. And the Land Development Code needs to be really flexible to keep these projects from having to go through multiple public hearings for approval. It was pretty clear walking around that South Miami used to be a stop on the old Florida East Coast Railway before it got replaced by Metro Rail. And more service is definitely a good thing. It's just sad to see what the widening of Route 1 has done to the place, but it's also frustrating because I know it's fixable. But I guess not really fixable with the continued construction of massive parking podiums that really act as nothing more than fuel on the fire that is Miami traffic. Someone please correct me in the comments, but it looks like the city of Miami brought parking minimums back from the dead in 2022, requiring 16 parking spaces for every 10 dwelling units, even when those units are immediately adjacent to a Metro Rail station. They also require 35 spaces for every 1,000 square feet of retail. That's wild. Imagine living on what is basically an island surrounded by ocean and one of the largest wetland complexes in the world, and thinking that you can just waste land building these things. But it's not all doom and gloom. I know nowhere is perfect, and to paraphrase my compatriots in Bon Jovi, speaking of which, so much of my time in Miami kept giving me deja vu. SoCal in general, but specifically Santa Monica and the coastal parts of the OC and North County San Diego, but also parts of Sydney and Brisbane. The shopping streets especially felt very Australian-y in both Miami Beach and South Miami. The brunch spot we picked turned out to be very popular, so while we were waiting, I got to explore a little bit of Southwest 72nd Street. I decided it reminded me the most of Logan Road and Stone's Corner. Because I lived in Coorparoo and studied at the University of Queensland, the bus went right past here, so I would occasionally pop in for a coffee at the apparently very short-lived Timber Cabin and Coffee House. Because while I have this photo of it from May of 2014, you can look on Google Street View from 2013 and see that it was the Green Door Cafe in August 2013, and by April of 2015, it was already Chili Coco. Man, how did I forget that Mr. 305 was in that song? Jeez. Coffee, snacks, and back to South Miami Station, with a quick walk on an older portion of the Underline. We headed further on to Dadeland South to do some shopping, before heading north again for lunch. It was back to Vizcaya Station to catch the bus to Omonticello.
you. Alright, next stop, Papa John's. Just remember, it's not pizza, it's Papa John's.
El Monticello is on Coral Way, just east of downtown Coral Gables. The restaurant is bright, airy, and has a full menu. This is around 1 p.m. on a Sunday, so while there were a few other people at tables near us, the back half was mostly empty. And the staff was really top-notch, on top of everything without being in the way at all. We ordered a Caesar salad, the risotto, and of course, a margarita pizza. I don't normally rave about salads, but this one was memorable. And so was the risotto. It was so good that we were like halfway finished with it before I remembered to get the camera out. The pizza was as you'd expect for a place ranked 11th in the US, and I think in this case the 11 to El Monticello and the 9 to La Legenda is fair. I'd say that if you're just after a great pizza, definitely go to La Legenda, but if you want an Italian restaurant that also happens to serve amazing pizza, El Monticello is your spot. Back on the bus, back to Vizcaya, and on our way up to Wynwood. This time we just missed the train, and this being Sunday and 20-minute headways, we had 19 minutes to wait for the next train. That long wait meant that we missed our bus connection downtown, and this being Sunday meant a 25-minute wait for the next bus, so we decided to Uber up to Wynwood instead, and deja vu again, this time with Refn in Copenhagen. Also, who knew these guys were still around? We got some dessert, we took in the smells, the murals, the annoyed Frenchies, and caught the bus back to Miami Central. I have no video of that part of the voyage because the bus was the kind of crowded where it's difficult to put your arm up to hold on without bumping into someone. Not blaming the transit agency necessarily, I know it's been really hard to hire new drivers, just saying that getting buses out of traffic means that you can do more with less. An hour or so earlier, on our way up to Wynwood, this French couple boarded Metrorail with their young son and 2 large suitcases. They had a quick conversation in French about the direction of the train before asking me in English if this train was going north, to which I replied, "Yes, but you have to transfer to get to the airport." It wasn't until we got back to Miami Central later that I appreciated how much easier the whole train process is versus having to deal with the airport. Even though I caught the train at the airport. But at least on the Miami side, the station is downtown and you can show up 10 minutes before departure and basically walk straight to your seat. And no one is scolding you to put your laptop away or sit down and put your seatbelt on. Which reminds me, and this isn't really a critique of Brightline so much as the airplane mentality that a lot of the passengers seem to have. You see some people waiting for the train to come to a complete stop, almost like they're waiting for the bell to ding before they get out of their seat. And you see people trying to stuff massive suitcases in the overhead racks, which are made of glass, instead of using the actual luggage racks, which are conveniently right by the door of every long-distance train ever. This gets repeated in the onboard announcements, but come on, no one's listening. Brightline could do a better job at making that known to people who don't want to check their bags. All you gotta say is, listen, you don't have to check your bags, but don't clog up the aisles fumbling around with a bag you can barely pick up. Use the luggage racks. El Monticello hot take, Caesar salad was actually really good. Yeah. it was super light. Like a lot of places, they do Caesar salads with really heavy dressing, and this was like the perfect amount of dressing. And then, let's see, what else? The risotto.
That was really good.
Risotto thoughts?
I thought it was better than the pasta that we had last night at.
Oh, at La Legenda?
Yeah. I thought it was a lot better than that pasta. Yeah.
It was really good. Like, we finished it, and it was an enormous plate of risotto. But I don't know, that pesto gnocchi at La Legenda was really amazing, and the gnocchi was great, right? But when you were finished with the gnocchi, you were left with like basically like a pesto pizza. It was, that was so good, and just like the pizza crust was amazing at La Legenda. Also really good at O Monticello. I think it was better at La Legenda, if I'm being fair.
In my opinion, I didn't like the texture of the gnocchi. Like I thought it was either overcooked or undercooked, but I couldn't tell which one.
It was al dente. Is that what you're trying to say? Like it was
too
firm.
chewy.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah. I agree, but I don't think it was. I don't know. I don't think it was chewy in a bad way. I think it was like the way that it was meant to be cooked. I don't know. Okay, so
Pizza.
sorry, we got distracted with La Legenda, but O Monticello, the pizza was really good, and I got a little confused about which one we were getting, because there was like the regular margarita, but then there was like the margarita DOP, which I think it's I think it has to do with the tomatoes that they were using. But yeah, there wasn't a lot of sauce on there, and I feel like for the most part with a margarita you can't do that.
You guys are all one family, right?
Yeah.
I have an open table.
Welcome to Fort Lauderdale. We will only be stopped at the station for a moment.
Okay, so we got new seats, and I don't know what was going on with that other dude, or like why she was worried about it. But there was like some ticket confusion, some seat confusion. Everybody got moved. I don't know what happened. Anyway, we got a table now, so that's fun. I would say that that O Monticello is like a legit restaurant with like a big menu. It's not just pizza. Their pizza just happens to be awesome.
Yeah.
And I think that O Monticello was number 9 in the U.S. and number 55 internationally, whereas La Legenda was like number 5 in the U.S. and number 45 internationally. So, anyway, like both just really good for pizza. 10 out of 10. Would do it again.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I didn't have much of the pizza, so I don't have much to say.
the pizza that we got had 2 different kinds of mozzarella. They had the buffalo mozzarella and the fior di latte. I think that the pizza at La Legenda was a little bit better than O Monticello,
I agree.
but
The other food that they had
at O Monticello,
Yeah.
well, yeah, the menu was much bigger. There was a lot more pasta. They had like seafood dishes. They had like
I think their other dishes were better, but I think their pizza loses to O Monticello, but everything else was a lot better at O Monticello
yeah,
to me.
yeah. The risotto was good.
The risotto was really good, and the Caesar salad was really good.
Yeah, Caesar was amazing. I had fun. I would like to have spent more time
exploring. It's a fun city. There's a lot going on. There's so much good food, and we only did pizza. Like the hotel we were staying at, there was this like amazing Indian place, like super high rated. I looked at the menu; it looked so good, and I wish we could have gone, but we just didn't have time, and I didn't have the appetite. I could not. I can't eat anymore. Like I'm not even sure I'm going to eat tomorrow. At all.
I'm not gonna eat unless we buy more rice.
Yeah. Oh, and I was also saying how the big bummer was just how long it takes to get from downtown Miami to Miami Beach, and how like where we were staying was only 3 metro stops from downtown, and it still took us almost 2 hours to get to South Beach, which is absolutely crazy. Like going back and forth across the bridge took up almost like 4 hours of our day. Miami has a little bit of work to do on the transit front. However, on the positive side,
Shopping was fun. Spending money was fun.
we never waited very long for a bus, and we only waited for the train like kind of long because we just missed it.
Yeah.
But like we never waited too long. It's just like the trip took forever because the bus was stuck in traffic, which is so stupid. You can fix that with some paint and some flex posts. Just don't let cars in that lane. Bus only. Wait. Oh, what was your favorite part?
Freak house. Freaky house.
Freak house. What did it say out front? Gothic.
Gothic shopping.
Gothic shopping or gothic fashion?
I think it was shopping.
Gothic shopping. That was a fun little store.
What was your favorite?
My favorite part?
Yeah.
My favorite part was checking out Miami Beach and walking around. It was interesting to be there on a Saturday night. It's also interesting to see how many Europeans were there.
Yeah, there were a lot of Europeans.
That was kind of unexpected. It wasn't entirely unexpected. I just was surprised at how many Europeans there were. And like
French people.
French, Germans, Spaniards, Italians. Yeah. Everybody was there. And I don't know if you noticed this, but when we were at La Legenda, there was a table of like 6 or 7 girls who were sitting behind us. They're probably like in their early 20s, and I could tell that most of them were from Spain, because just like the one girl kept saying "vale." But when the pizza came out, one of the girls picked up the pizza with her hands and ate it like I would. And the girl next to her said like something in Spanish like, "Is it okay?" Or she said, "Are you eating that with your hands?" And like surprised. And the other girl said, that's how they do it in Italy. And it is interesting though, because Mom and I have been to Italy a few times, and I've seen people do it both ways. Like I've seen people eat pizza with a fork and knife, but I've also seen it. But after like I felt like a little bit like a savage eating that pizza with my hands because it was so good. But like to me, pizza will always be street food, Like no matter how high you try to elevate it, it would be like getting a taco and eating that with like getting out the silverware for your taco.
It would be more like a hot dog, because like hot dogs are like the street foodiest street food.
True. Yeah, that's a good one. Good one. But also like a burrito too. Like sometimes you go to Mexican restaurants and you can't pick the burrito up.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
Like this long.
yeah, but like
It's a log.
you get a Mission style burrito in San Francisco, like where the Mission style came from, and
they serve it to you wrapped in foil, and you're just supposed to peel the foil as you eat it. It's just weird to have it on a plate with like sauce on top, and you've got to eat it with utensils. Anyway, famous debate. We can leave that one to the experts.
To the comments.
Yeah, comment down below. Do you eat pizza with a fork and knife, or with your hands? I don't know. Yeah. What?
That's all from us. Tune in next time for more pizza. Peace out, Chad.
We'll see you next time in a different state.
Bringing your state to a higher state with good pizza content.
All of the revenue that you want is your choice riders. All of the revenue you want and you don't have are your choice riders who aren't here because you suck.
We hope you enjoyed Miami as much as we did. We're trying new pizza in different cities every month. Click subscribe and the notification bell to be notified when the first of our West Coast series starts at the end of April. I'm Jim. This is Pizza Legends. We'll see you next time.